Here we are again at the National Motorcycle Museum in Birmingham, setting up for tomorrow's auction. The scooter section will start at 11 o'clock and the motorcycles will then kick off at 1 o'clock. We're just going to show you around some of the lots we've got. We've over 200 lots and we'll just show you around some of the more interesting lots that have arrived already. So this is probably the smallest bike in the auction, lot 139. This is actually Carl Fogarty's last ever paddock bike, presented to him at the start of the 2000 season, painted up in his works team colours. It's the season when Carl actually hurt himself, so led to his eventual retirement at the end of the year. It's been in his possession from new. He's the only name on the logbook, and for recent years it's been stored in his house on display. Real collector's piece. Probably the only chance you get to ever buy an ex-Carl Fogarty bike for reasonable money. So here we have a definitive collection of BSA Gold Stars. Starting off with lot 297, that's a DBD 34 500cc, RRT2 gearbox, GP carb, clip-on handlebars, all the correct club and spec. The other end there, much the same thing, but the 350 version, a DBD 32, lot number 268. Sat in the middle here, a genuine Rocket Gold Star. Numbers verified by the Gold Star Owners Club, lot number 304, and again wearing all the correct bits you want on a clubman spec Rocket Gold Star, all presented in like beautiful condition and ready to go. So this is a MV Agusta F4 750cc, always a rare bike anyway, but certainly in the blue and silver Diamante version, there's very few of these were made in the day. Most MV Agustas were the classic red and silver racing colours. Comes with a good history file and a few spare bits and pieces, even includes the paddock stand. So this is lot number 317. It'll be roughly halfway through the auction if you're going to be watching it online. And just a beautiful looking bike, generally renowned the MV Agustas as the best looking bikes made in that period. Right, this is lot number 214, a Yamaha RD80. Part of the RD range, starting off with 50s, 80s, 125s, 250s, 350s and 500s. Some riders perhaps would have gone right through the range back in the day. Yamaha were renowned for the performance two-strokes, and there was a general look across the range, even the stripes on the tank all echoed the bigger bikes. Should bring back a lot of memories for riders of a certain age. Now this is an interesting bike. This won the 1977 Formula 3 TT. John Kidson was the rider. First year of the Formula races at the TT. Based on an Honda 404. Had to have some special parts made just to get the capacity just right. So very rare bike and with a fantastic history. It's been owned by John Kidson ever since he won the TT on it. So it's in effect a one-owner bike since that. Couldn't be any better coming from the man who actually rode it. So here we have a general selection of the bikes we have, like we said, 200 lots, so we've got a bit of everything, something for everybody, ranging from Kawasaki 750, amazing bike in its day, probably the fastest bike you could buy in your day. Didn't handle perhaps too well, but it's got a reputation. Lot number 239, RD350 LC, again, Ed Banger's bike in its day, lots of people would have had them. Moto Guzzi Falcone, typical Italian bike. If you look at the cylinder, that's sticking out forward, so very distinctive looking bike. Been restored by somebody to use, so it's got panniers on, indicators, a few modern day attachments just to make it more suitable for riding modern day road conditions. Going up to stuff like this, again, very rare, lot number 301, NSU. Not many of them in this country, I wouldn't expect. Probably 1930s, and again fascinating to look at the engineering of the day. Next one here, lot 265, that's an aerial square 4, very unusual configuration, where cylinders would normally be side by side or front and back. This has them in a square, so revolutionary idea in its day that very few of the manufacturers have ever done. Again, beautifully presented bike, fully restored, and looks to be very nice and original. That's lot number 265, is that one. So after looking at the aerial square 4, which very unusual layout of engine, one of the few other companies that actually used that design was Suzuki. This is a two-stroke 500cc based on the Grand Prix bike that Barry Sheen would have rode in the day. Again, square 4 configuration. This time, because it's got disc valves, it needed the cylinders in a square. 1985, these came out. very much a Grand Prix replica. A lot got modified, they got crashed and raced and beat up. There's very few standard ones left. This has been in one ownership for the last 30 odd years and been in storage for a long time. So it needs recommissioning, it will need a good recommissioning for somebody, but the basics are all there, all the bits you want on a standard bike are still there. So here we have two beautiful looking MV Agusta 350s, lot number 350 and lot number 308, based on the 350 twin cylinder road bike of the probably early 70s. Been converted to race bike, so if you look at the brakes and the swinging arms and everything, they are race spec. Presented in the classic MV Agusta colours, red and silver, blue side plates for the 350. They will make fantastic parade bikes, track day bikes, and they're just two beautiful bikes to look at. Now we have two limited edition Ducatis. This is a Mike Harewood 900 Evolution. 2,000 of these were made back in the day. They're all numbered. They came with a plaque and a cover, even a t-shirt with the number on it. This has in effect done 0 miles. It's been in a private collection, stored inside an house for most of its life, never been used, never actually turned a wheel in anger. So it's in as new condition and it's a real collector's piece. These bikes were just sold on the internet. When Ducati announced it, they put a message out on the internet. Within 35 minutes, basically they'd all sold. The next one down is a 996 SPS. Homologation special really, this was to allow certain things to be used in superbike racing. 2,000 of these were made, it looks like this is number 1146. Again, it's been a private collection, 0 miles on the clock, and comes with all the paperwork it would have come with new. Both these bikes have never even been registered, they've just been, as they would have been, sat in a motorbike shop all those years ago. Fantastic pair of bikes, you could just sit there and look at all day. So this is lot number 280, one of the highlights of the show, a BSA Lightning racing specification, ordered by the rider to compete in the 1950 TT as a special order from the Vincent factory, so put together as a race bike. Been stored in a barn for 50 years before it's been restored to a very high standard. Never been offered for sale before, so this is the first opportunity to buy this bike since it was new. What are we talking, 70 odd years ago? Fantastic looking bike with a good story behind it. So the auction is tomorrow, 6th of April. We start at 11 o'clock with the scooter section, then 1 o'clock for the motorcycle section. You can bid online, in person, phone bids. If you go onto our website, hnh.co.uk, you can find all the details of the auction, the lots, and how to bid, either in person or online.